it's me, Lisa, and I am so happy that you found me. If you're finding me on YouTube and you like this video and all the other videos in my channel, hit the like and the subscribe so that when this party starts, you get the ding, 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 and you can come on in and check out my latest videos. So today I am talking about communication, how to communicate with confidence like a queen so that you can teach that man in your life how you are to be treated without coming across emasculating and bitter and mean and just angry, right? So we want to be able to advocate for ourselves. We want to speak eloquently. We want to hold ourselves like the classy ladies that we are. And sometimes guys get a little nervous, right? They get a little nervous with us. Maybe the relationship is taking another turn in a higher direction and they're getting closer to us and they're feeling bonded and connected to us. And they're seeing maybe like they can have a future with us. They're like, oh my God, this girl, I really like her. That's usually the time where they might overcompensate by negging you or throwing a dig here and there. They kind of want to keep you down to earth. They don't want to let on that they might be falling for you, okay? So this is a time in a relationship where you might get into a little spat. You might go there with them. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to, and that you can just recognize what's going on, and you can actually use that situation to get you even closer, to gain more understanding about this person, and also come to some new agreements that then bond you even closer together. So I'm going to give you an example of something that went on with one of my clients who is in a relatively new relationship. I believe she's with this man about 3 or 4 months, and they're getting along great, and it's that early stage of the relationship, but he said something that rubbed her wrong, right? And he kind of did it more than once. And it made her out to appear in mixed company that she was difficult or high maintenance or someone that maybe he had doubts about. And she doesn't really know him that well, right? Like I said, they're only together about 3 or 4 months, but they know each other enough to know that was a little off. So what we want to be clear about here is that oftentimes people who are taught to be polite and be good and may even be codependent might not say anything at all. They might even question if they have any right to be angry or upset, or should I even go there? Like, is this a big enough deal to even talk about? I'm here to tell you that if something hits you in a certain way and it pangs at you and you like feel it in your body, so like for me, like I feel it usually in my stomach and maybe even like in my heart, literally in my heart. Like if somebody says something to me and it's like a little off, I'll feel like a physical pang in my stomach, like right in here, or my heart. So when I feel that, it is a visceral response to something that somebody is saying to me. So this is normal. I'm telling you, this happens to everybody. And it's very important for you to get in tune with your body so that you could understand when certain things are happening outside and around you, that you can gauge where you're at with it by feeling your way through it and to it through your body, okay? So one of the things that I want to mention here is that the reason why certain people, codependents mainly, let things slide is because they were entrained to not be connected to themselves. When they were little, they were scolded for having feelings. They were scolded for advocating for themselves. I'll give you an example. If you were little and you were upset about something, let's say you're 6 years old and you were trying to play with something and it broke, and now your toy is broken, and you run out and you're all upset and you're frustrated and you don't have the words because you're a baby, you're 6 years old. And you go to your mother with it and you're like, it broke, and you're all upset, and she scolds you. She makes you wrong. Why'd you break the toy? Or, well, you have to learn how to play with things gently. and makes you wrong for the trauma that you're feeling. Instead of offering you empathy and compassion and holding you and saying, oh, it's okay, sweetheart, we'll just go to the store and we'll find another toy just like it, or it happens, it's okay, you know, really consoling and making it better, they make you feel wrong. So this is just an example of like when you're little, how you're taught that your feelings are wrong. You are wrong for having feelings. You're wrong for feeling frustrated. You're wrong for feeling sad, anxious, afraid, hungry, thirsty, anything. And this teaches you that in order to get love, you have to keep your head down, you don't complain, you don't say anything, and you don't advocate for yourself. And when we don't advocate for ourselves, we learn how to self-abandon. So when we have people say things to us and they think it's a joke and they're really saying it to overcompensate for their own nervousness or their own insecurities, and we don't call them on it, it is a form of self-abandonment. Okay, so when you let it slide, it will fester in you. More so, if you let it slide, it gives them permission to do that again. It becomes allowed, right? So if somebody's joking with you, but you're like, I don't like that. That's insulting. That's not a joke. That's like ribbing me. Like, I could take a joke, I'm cool, I don't take myself that seriously, but this is rude. There's a difference between joke, like, you know, confident person can take a joke, it's fine. Not to be very, you know, full of yourself or taking yourself too seriously. That's different. But when it's something that's said in a way that's just rude or very abrupt or very curt, just you feel it in your heart, you feel it in your stomach, you feel it. You just like, oh, it didn't feel very nice. It wasn't very nice to me. I don't like that. Say something. You have to absolutely say something. Now, if you struggle with that, and it could be romantic relationship, it could be a spouse, it could be a boss, it could be coworker, someone in your family, even a parent, where they say things to you and it hits you funny and you don't advocate for yourself. If you have issues with that, let's get together. You can find me at lovequestcoaching.com, and you can get in touch with me also on Instagram at Lisa the Love Coach. You can private message me, no problem, and tell me that you saw this video and that it kind of hit you. And it was like, whoa, this really hit me. Like, my mom does that to me. She does it to me and my sisters. Or I have this coworker that does that kind of thing. They throw digs my way and I never stand up for myself. And there is a way that you can do exactly that. And what I like to do with my clients is get to the underlying reason for why you don't self-advocate and why you do have a problem being assertive and representing yourself and standing up for yourself. So once you get to that first stage of, why do I have such a struggle being confrontational when I know that something was said that I didn't like? I just don't like to be treated that way. I don't like to be spoken to that way, right? And you're sitting here trying to talk yourself out of having a confrontation. Oh, I don't want to say anything. I don't want any drama. No. It's not drama, and it doesn't have to be drama. And that's what we're going to segue into right next now. Speaking up for yourself in a confident, classy way doesn't mean that you abandon yourself. It doesn't mean that you just say, oh, I'm not going to fight that battle, because then it goes inside you and festers, and that's a massive problem. That's how resentments form in relationships. And actually, when you do come to the person in a clear, confident, respectful way, you can actually strengthen the bond between you, lay out some new agreements so that communication is known. It's, here's how I like to be communicated with, here's how I like to receive communication, here's the kind of jokes that are not going to fly with me. And that's just part of getting to know one another. So my client and I did some really interesting work around what she could have said. So a lot of times we go through a situation and we look back on it and we have regrets and we beat ourselves up because we're like, why didn't I say that? Oh, I'm so mad at myself. I was in the moment and I didn't say a thing. So it's never too late to go back and invite that person in to have a conversation about it. And you could start it off saying something like, you know, I had something on my mind for the last couple of days, and I thought that I would be able to handle it on my own. But I'm afraid that it's going to seep into resentment if I don't come to you to clear the air. And if they care about you, they're probably going to say, what happened? What's going on? And then you have the stage to say openly and honestly what your perception of that was, okay? Their perception, they're entitled to their perception. You cannot argue perception. That's why I love to use that word. Here's what was said. And here's the question and why I'm a little confused about it. And so when you said that, my perception was this. So it invites more of an exchange, of a communication towards a solution. You're not antagonistic. You're not coming at this person like, listen, here's the deal, asshole. You come at me like that again, I walk. It's that simple. See, but you can be that, but it's very masculine. It's very confrontational. It doesn't invite in an exchange to bond more, to get to know one another better. Now, that's the first time. If this continues, then you have every right to take it to the nether level until you make up a decision and say, okay, clearly this person doesn't get it, they don't respect me, they roll how they roll, and they're not for me. So this is, what happens in the early stages of relationships. You're in analysis mode. You're always, you're sizing it up. You're like, I just met you, dude. I don't know you yet. Like, is this how you joke around? Like, what? Like, this isn't going to work for me. But you can say it in a way where you're both in that early stage establishing what flies and what doesn't fly. Okay, so that said, one of the things that we talked about in the session that we had a really good time with and a laugh about was I asked her if, like, how far along in the relationship were there, and like, were family members met and all that, and she said yes. Okay, so I said, well, how did that go? And she said, well, it was great. Like, he met my dad, and he met my mother and my sister, and we like all went to dinner, and then we like hung out back at the house. It was really cool, and everybody got along great. And so, he obviously has a lot of respect for my dad, and he said, your dad's a really great guy and all that. So I'm like, cool, that's great, that's amazing, that worked out great. So then I said to her, consider this. And we were brainstorming back and forth. And I said, when you have that conversation with him about that little comment that he made more than once that rubbed you wrong, consider this. Bring back the memory of that good time that you had when he met your dad. So you can say, it made me think about how much my dad liked you. And my dad told me, he said, he's a really good guy. It's a good guy. Like, good to see you happy with a good guy. And it's early and whatever, see how it goes. And, my dad said that. Really? Your dad said that? Yeah. So then I said, once that happens and he's feeling good, that your dad approves of him, ask him to communicate with you always. Always. Whether it's you and you alone, or you and he and friends, in mixed company, or one-on-one. Ask him to speak to you always as if your father is right there. Because oftentimes people get very comfortable and they get very sloppy in their communication, and they get very disrespectful sometimes too. But notice, the second the parents are around, or a colleague is around, or now it's a business dinner and you're invited, oh no, now you're going to be on a different behavior. So don't allow that to slack off. It's unacceptable. Speak to me with the same respect, adoration, admiration, connectiveness, as you would in front of somebody who really mattered, someone's opinion who really, really mattered. So she said, that's amazing, that's fantastic, I'm going to try to do exactly that, because then it removes her from being emotional. It removes the thing about being emotional. There's no emotion in there. It's just, I want you to treat me and speak to me the same way you did in front of my dad. My dad really liked you. He really respected you. He thinks you're a good man. But if my dad was sitting here and heard you say what you said to me, he'd probably call me aside and he'd say, I didn't raise you to take that shit. So either you give it to him or I will. So follow what I mean. You are beautiful and smart. And honey, people, they come in, they go, they come in, they go, they come in, they go. So don't be afraid to assert yourself with grace and with love and the idea of trying your best to come to an agreement. This isn't about you picking a fight. This isn't about you getting all dramatic. This is about simple, simple, simple. This was said. It hit me wrong. I thought I can deal with it on my own. I thought I can do some mental gymnastics to make it okay in my mind. I almost blew it off, but it really hit me wrong. And I don't want to resent you, and I don't want to keep it to myself, because then 3 months from now we get into a discussion and I end up exploding. I don't want any of that. So I had a perception about what was said, and it went like this. When you said this, I thought it meant this, and I didn't like it. And that's it. Very simple. This isn't about them trying to convince you to understand why they said what they said, or whatever. Doesn't matter. I understand. Like this. Oh, I was just joking. I was only joking. Yeah. And learn how to hold your frame, energetic frame. I teach this. If you have, issues with anything I'm saying, and you're like, oh my God, this girl's speaking to my soul. I let people talk all over me. You know that expression, people walk all over me? Well, there are also people who let others talk all over them, right? They throw digs, they say inappropriate things, and you let it fly. Oh, they were just joking. Meanwhile, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so learn how to hold your frame, and when they're squirming and being in this weird thing within themselves, this energy, because you basically said politely and directly with confidence, I heard what you said, I didn't like it. Didn't like it. And you sit there and you hold your frame and you let them squirm. And you just, you don't say, oh, but it's okay, because you want to relieve them from their discomfort. No, you sit there and you say, well, that's why I came to you, because there had to be a good reason. There had to be a reason for why you would say something like that to me. So is there a good reason? And sometimes just that kind of question, having faith in somebody and saying, you're a good person. You're not out to get me. And there has to be a good reason for what you said or did. And you let them think on that. And maybe they'll say, no, I was just joking around. I was just kidding. And okay. Yeah, so obviously you don't like me joking around like that. No, I like to be spoken to all the time the way you speak to me in front of my dad. I like that. And in front of your friends and in front of your colleagues, and just that's how I like to be spoken to. And when you speak to me that way, I feel like amazing. They'll get it. They'll understand. So that's the message for today. I hope it helped you. I don't know if you have any kind of issue with that, as far as letting people throw digs your way and letting it slide. But I am a relationship coach, certified professional, love life coach, and relationships are my jam. And these relationships don't only have to be romantic relationships. It could be mother, father, siblings, work relationships. So if you struggle in that area, let's connect. I'd love to help you out. I'd love to learn more about what you're going through, see if we can work it out. You can find me directly at lovequestcoaching.com, and you can email me there. I look forward to connecting with you, and have a wonderful, blessed day.